closing the deal. We begin with 5 primaries today as both frontrunners hope to put away their rivals for good. All 5 East Coast states considered favorable for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. For the Democrats, Clinton wants to shut down Bernie Sanders in the delegate count. Trump is expected to rout his opponents, putting him closer to the nomination as well. All this as the anti-Trump alliance between Ted Cruz and John Kasich may already be showing some cracks. Just hours after they announced Kasich would step aside in Indiana and Cruz would step aside in 2 western states, Governor Kasich said this.
Who should your supporters vote for in Indiana?
Well, I've never told them not to vote for me. They ought to vote for me. But I'm not over there campaigning and spending resources. We have limited resources.
In response to it all, Donald Trump spent most of the past 24 hours slamming the double team. He was on Hannity.
Well, it's collusion. In business, you go to jail for that, but it's collusion where they're coming together because they're getting beaten badly. Cruz is getting absolutely killed. He was reduced to nothing, as you know, last week in New York. He got almost no votes. Kasich is doing terribly. Kasich is 1 for 42, and if I would have campaigned 2 more days in Ohio, I would have won.
We may make some news with this first question to Dr. Carson, because I haven't seen anybody ask you this. There were reports that Ted Cruz had approached you. What was that conversation like? And now that you've seen a double team, does it surprise you? So kind of a two-parter there.
Well, you know, we've talked. But, you know, I think really the issue here is not Ted Cruz or Donald Trump. The real issue is the people. And I think that's what's been forgotten in this whole election. The reason that this is such an unusual year is because the people have sort of risen up and they said, we don't want all this stuff that's been going on, all this intricate backroom stuff. We want straightforward things to happen, and we want our voices to be heard. And now we have all this collusion going on and stuff, and it's just frustrating the people. I think it's going to backfire big time.
Collusion, you call it, and Donald Trump has called it that. Is it that? Is it just politics? And I want to get back to just how surprised you are that these particular 2 men have teamed up.
Well, it is politics. I will agree. And everybody says politics is like that. And that's what people are always saying to me. You can't possibly go in that world. You're too nice. You're too pure. But does it have to be that way? Do we have to accept it that way? Or should we be trying to change it to make it into something that's decent and pure and something that really reflects the will of the people? I don't think we should ever give up on that. We shouldn't just accept it.
But Dr. Carson, you say it's collusion. Donald Trump says it's collusion. Isn't this really the art of the deal, something Donald Trump consistently talks about being able to do? Aren't these 2 men essentially cutting a deal together? Something Donald Trump claims as president he'll be a master at doing. Why would you criticize them for doing this when it's something Donald Trump claims that he's very good at doing himself?
It's the art of the deal in business.
Isn't this business?
No, it is not. That's the difference. This is America. This is a place that was founded on principles different than just about anybody else. This is a country where our founding document says that our rights come from our Creator, also known as God. And that we have values and principles that guide the way that we do things. It's not business as usual.
But, sir, he's talking about the fact that his business acumen is exactly what's going to entitle him to be a great president. So if it's not business, as you say, what's the rationale for a Trump candidacy? Well,
the rationale for a Trump candidacy, I think, is somebody who has the ability to draw people because he tends to speak truth. He tends to talk about things that other people actually believe but are afraid to say because of political correctness, and he gives them an avenue whereby to express themselves.
There were some reports and some speculation that following your endorsement of Donald Trump that you were having a little buyer's remorse, but that was pinned on just some contextual things, some things that you had said on some talk shows. Are you still fully supporting Donald Trump at this point?
Yeah, I fully support him, but you know, what I was saying is that I'm pragmatic. You know, I've grown up in the world of science where, you know, we do things based on evidence and on facts. And when you look at the pathway that the other people have, it only works through a brokered convention. Now, what will happen if you have a brokered convention? tremendous strife and discord, no possibility of bringing people back together. And what Kasich and Cruz have to recognize is, yes, maybe they think it's nice to be president, but put that aside and think about the party and think about what you are potentially doing to it. It far supersedes any personal ambition.
You know, you and I sat down for Fox Report a few weeks before you decided to pull out of the race, and you said, if I get down to 1 or 2%, I'm not going to hang in there. You look at these guys, and the two men who were left in the race against Donald Trump, and numerically it would be very difficult, that's probably putting it lightly, for them to get to 1237, the nominating delegates needed. So what would you say to these men right now? And you mentioned again that you and Ted Cruz had some talks.
I would say, think about the country. You know, you think about what this election means right now. On the one side, the progressives, they want more government involved in your life from birth till death, and they believe that they have all the solutions. On the other side, you have people who believe in personal responsibility, self-reliance, and compassion toward your neighbor. And I'm talking about real compassion. Compassion is not patting people on the head and saying, there, you poor little thing, I'm going to give you free health care and housing subsidies and food stamps and everything else you could possibly need. Compassion is saying, we are going to make sure that we provide a ladder of opportunity so that you can climb that ladder based on your God-given talents and your hard work and become part of the fabric of America.
Can I take you back to this issue right now of Cruz and Kasich teaming up? I mean, you know these guys. You were out in the trail with them. Do you believe that they could abide by that? Because when you hear the quotes from Kasich, he sort of sounds like he's backpedaling a bit, and that's kind of what he did to Marco Rubio over Florida and Ohio. I mean, do you think they could stick to a deal knowing their character?
Well, I'm not gonna talk about whether they would do that or not, because that, you know, is judging them. But the fact of the matter is, people who are very ambitious and who will do whatever it takes in order to achieve their goal are people that probably should not be president of the United States.
Probably all.
You know,
the presidents we have.
I was about to say it's the only way to become president.
Exactly what you're thinking. We're glad to hear.